so you can refer to that. So today's class, let us go ahead to see what is how to do infix to prefix. All of you have paper, pen, and all with you to try out problems. It will be almost like yesterday's class, wherein I'll be giving you all some problems and you'll have to try it. Okay? Is that fine? Can I have some response?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. All right. Now let us start with infix to prefix. Here I have given one infix expression a by d plus c into x to the power of y. Can you start doing? What is that you have to do first in case of infix to prefix? You have to reverse the string, or you have to scan the string from right to left. Either way, it is right. So if I try to, let me put the reverse of it. If I try to reverse, all open brackets will become close, close will become open. Okay, so this will become y to the power of x star and then c plus d slash a. Okay, two brackets. Now we follow the same steps as that of what we were doing for infix to postfix. That's all is a change. Again, the last expression what you get, that also you should reverse. Come on, do it and put it on the chat. Put the result on the chat.
Ma'am, I guess you missed one open bracket.
Is it? Okay, let me see. Yeah. Make the change. I think I missed one open bracket. Please note the change. I have missed an open bracket. I've added it now. What are you all doing? Lata? Lata? Are you there, Lata? Srinivas, why you didn't come for class yesterday?
Ma'am, I got disconnected as I connected now. Some issues.
Yeah, many of you, I think you are given the result. Yeah, any doubts or any of you? I think most of you have done it right. You have to reverse it and then follow the same steps as that of infix to postfix, and then write the expression back in the reverse order. Yeah, most of you, I think all of you have given it right. Star plus slash ADC to the power XY. Bhargavi, you are not able to type power. Huh? Sharanappa, have you done or not? Yes, left. Take the next one. Right, do it. Are you all at it? Can I have some response?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Let me check. Somebody has, I think, posted some answers. Plus A minus star BC star slash D power EFG. Yeah, it's right. Good. Right. Many are doing it right. Correct. Finish it fast. Let's go to the next one. Pavitra is right. Vaishnavi is right. Most of them all are right, I guess. Anybody, I don't know. Let me check if somebody has done it wrongly, then I'll take their name. I guess all of you are right. Good. Shall we move to the next one? Now, next let us see how you can convert postfix to infix. How will you do that? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to give you a postfix expression. Yeah, ABC minus plus DE minus FG minus H plus slash star. This is a postfix expression. You will have to convert it into infix. How will you do that? Anyone? Can anybody tell me? May I have some answers? No one knows, is it? Yes, Rashmi, how do you do? Rashmi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Yeah, how do you convert postfix to infix?
Okay.
Anybody? Others? How do you all convert postfix to infix? Who is going to tell me now?
We just solve it, mom. Like,
And we have to push the variable a to the stack.
Mm-hmm. It is similar to your postfix evaluation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Do it
The
and post the answer.
comment, then push it to stack, ma'am.
Exactly, exactly. Do it and post it in the chat.
Ma'am, it's done.
Yeah, let's wait for other answers also. Let's wait. Post your answers. See, as you do the expressions, you can include the parentheses. Many of you are not including it at all. Now, if you are applying an operator on two operands, then you can include the what to say, the parentheses also. Look here, when I say stack is, so I will be pushing first A, then I'll push B, then I'll push C, and then I have a minus. So I'll be doing B minus C, right? So when I do this B minus C, in my stack I'll have B minus C, and then I'll have A. Then I have a next character I have to do is a plus. So what will happen now? I will operate. No, this is wrong. A will be here, B minus C. This is how my stack will look like. And then I'll apply a plus on these two. So I can say A plus. You can put a braces here because you have already done this computation. So I can close it within a parenthesis. So this will become now A plus B minus C. So my stack will now contain only A plus B minus C. This is my content of the stack. Next, I'll be pushing the next character, that is D. Then I'll push E. All right. So now I have a minus, which I'll have to do it on D minus E. Correct? So I'll do a D minus E and push that also. D minus E will get into the stack. Now after this, I have F. This will be pushed. And then I have a G that will be pushed into the stack. And then I have F minus G. So then I will be performing F minus G and then I'll put that also into the stack. And then I have H and then I have plus. Now this will become F minus G plus H. So this will become, I can put a braces here, F minus G, because we are doing this operation. So that's okay. Even for D minus E, if you want, you can put, no issues. Here also, when you push that, you can put that in the form of, because that part of the operation is already done, is it not? Then after this, I have plus is done. We have a slash. So a slash will be performed between this and this. So I'll be doing this and pushing that result onto the stack. So I have in my stack right now A plus B minus C. And then I have D minus E slash F minus G plus H. Then I have a, finally I have a star. So now, or you can also put here now, since the star should be on, star is applied on this and it is applied on this. So I can actually put a parenthesis to enclose that. A plus this, if you want this parenthesis, you can drop, because A plus B plus and minus are of the same precedence, and then a star, and then I will put a D minus E slash F minus G plus H. So it is better to include parenthesis rather than writing the expression as it is. I think Bhargavi has done it right. Lata also has done it. Some of you haven't put any braces at all. Pavan Kumar, no parenthesis at all you have put. Chaitra also. So it is better to include that, so that whatever operations you have done with, you can enclose it in a parenthesis, no issues. Otherwise, it will become confusing when you want to convert it into postfix now, the same expression. Then probably there will be some issues like how to apply that. All right. Any doubts? May I have some response?
No, ma'am.
That's better. In the class, you don't reply. At least here you reply. I can't look at you people what you are doing. So at least one response from your side is better. Okay, next let us move on to see, one thing I want you all to know is you should know thoroughly how to, given any expression, how to convert into different forms. You may be given infix, you should know how to convert into prefix and postfix. You might be given postfix, and then you should know how to convert it into prefix and infix, like that. Given any expression, you may be asked to convert to any other expression. You may be asked to evaluate a postfix expression. These kind of questions also you can expect in the MCQ on the test. I hope all of you are aware that the test starts from 4th of May. Are you aware of that? I had sent
Yes,
a message
ma'am.
last night.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah. So it is going to be 30 questions, 30 completely MCQ question. Timetable and time slot will be shared with you all soon, maybe closer to the date. I will be letting you all know that. So you have to log in into that time only and then take up the test. Okay. So you may be given a buffer time of maybe, if the test is for 1 hour, you may be given a window slot of 1.5 hours. I mean, some time to log in and all that. From the time you start, it will be 1 hour, or I mean, whatever slot is given, suppose it is given 10 to 11:30 or 10 to 11, whatever is given to you, that slot you should be able to finish. Now, since it's an MCQ, I think it should not be an issue for you to write it or complete it well within the time. Okay. Now, let us quickly revise something on, well, yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So in the first few classes, starting from March 5th, we had quickly gone into, we had started off with searching and sorting techniques, correct? So I'll just give a quick recap on how the different searching and sorting can be done. So searching algorithms, we have two different types: linear search, binary search. I think we have learned and finished off with these programs in the lab as well. So linear search, you also call it as sequential search. Okay, so linear search is also known as sequential search, and no information is linear search is applied when the given array is unsorted or the elements are unordered. Because in case of binary search, I think you have to go for a ordered elements. So linear search algorithm, I think you all know, one by one element you have to go on searching. And look here, we are, suppose this is the array that is given to us and we want to search where is 15. How do you search? Anybody can answer me? How do you do a linear search if I have to search 15?
We have to search for 0 and 1. And so on, ma'am.
What we have to do is we have to start searching. Every element is compared with 15. So 15 is the item that we have to search. So we start comparing 15 with 92. It doesn't match. So we move to 87. We compare 15 with 87. We compare 15 with 53. We compare 15 with 10. Then we compare 15 with 15. So it matches, and then that's how we say the search has been successful. Otherwise, if it doesn't match, then we continue to search until the last element is reached. If none of them matches, then we say that the element is not found. Okay. So one important thing you have to know is, okay, I'll come to that later on. So that's about linear search. Coming to binary search, I think I have not included any example here. So binary search, we all know we divide the list into two parts. And then the prerequisite for a binary search is it has to be sorted in the ascending order. And then you start searching with every element only in the first half. You find out what is middle, you have low, high, all that, and then you do it. These are the only searching techniques we have in terms of in our syllabus, linear and binary. Coming to sorting techniques, we have bubble sort, insertion sort, quick sort, and then selection sort. Now, when we talk of sorting algorithms, one important thing that I want to tell you all is you should know in each sorting algorithm what are the number of passes that for every algorithm you have to use. That is a very, very important concept that you should know. For example, if I'm sorting 5 elements using bubble sort, then how many iterations do I require? Is it n minus 1? Is it n square? Is it 2n? It is n. How many passes do I need? If I use the same 5 elements using selection sort, if I using insertion sort, if I use a quick sort, how many iterations are required? Are you all noting down or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, note down all these points. So how many iterations are required in each of these, during each of these sorts? That is what is very important when you are trying to learn about sorting. It is not just necessary, sufficient if you learn how the sorting is done. That is one side of it. You should know how a bubble sort is done, how quick sort is done, how linear, insertion sort is done. All this we have done already in the 1 week of class. We have done with sorting techniques actually. But it is also important for us to know how many iterations each one is going to take. At this point of time, you should know only so much. When we go ahead with the analysis and design of algorithms, there we'll be learning the time complexity, how much time does it take, what is the worst case, best case, average case, all these things you will learn there. But at least now, as a first step, you should be knowing this. So I would suggest you take any set of numbers, try to sort it out, and then find out for yourself how many iterations does it take. Worst case, best case, as well as the worst case, average case. All right. Next is, yeah. If you take an example for a bubble sort. Now suppose these are the elements that are given 5, 12, 3, 9, and 16. So how do I sort it using bubble sort? I go on comparing the first and the second element. 5 and 12 I compare here. Correct? So if 5 is less than 12, so there is no swapping. Next I move on to, I'll start doing from 12 and I'll compare 12 and 3. So when I compare 12 and 3, 3 is less than 12. So I swap it. 3. Are you able to see the differentiation between red and green?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
So 3 and 12 I swap. Yes, please. 3 and 12 I swap. Next I compare what? 12 and 9 I will compare. When I compare 12 and 9, what will happen? 9 is less than 12. So 9 and 12 is getting swapped. Again I compare 12 and 16. 12 is less than 16, so I don't do any swapping. So that is how we try to finish the bubble sort. Okay. Now that is yeah. Next iteration, that is one iteration. I'm sorry. Yeah, that is one iteration. Next iteration again I will start 3 and 5 I will compare. So there is no swapping. Again I will compare 5 and 9, no swapping. 9 and 12, no swapping. Like that I go on. This is then finally 12 and 16 all are in numerical order. So the array gets sorted. Is it clear? So that is how we do a bubble sort. Now you take up an example on your own. after the class and try to see how many iterations or how many passes each of these sort takes. How do we do selection sort? Selection sort, you start when at the end of the one pass, all the element, the smallest element should be in the first position. That is your selection sort is. What is happening here? We have 29. We start comparing 29 with 72. There is no change. We start comparing 29 with 98. No change. 29 with 13. There is a change. There is a swap. So 13 and 29 gets swapped here in the second step. Are you able to see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. How do I use it here? Can't change here.
Either she records video, either she records video or she conducts a Google Meet.
Yeah. So then what I do, I start comparing the second element with the from second element onwards, I go on comparing. So 72 I compare with 98. In each iteration, whichever is the smallest element, that should come to the correct position. So first case 13 was the smallest, it has come to the first position. In the second rectangle, what you are seeing, 29 is the smallest. I start comparing from here. 72 with 98 I compare, there is no swap. 72 with 29 I compare, 29 comes to the second position. So here again, the third iteration, you see 36 is the smallest. So 36 should come to the first. This is actually the 13 and 29 we are not going to touch. It becomes already the sorted array. The rest of it from 39, 98, it is an unsorted array. So like that you go on continuing. You find that half of the every iteration, one element is put in the sorted position. So 13 is becoming sorted, 1372 is 13 and 29 is sorted, 13, 29, 36 is sorted, 13, 29, 36, 51 is sorted. So like that, the sorted array increases in length. Sorted part increases in length as you go on with respect to the iterations. So that's how you do a selection. I think all this I'm just showing you an example because we have already done in the class and you have tried in the lab also. That is why. Next is insertion sort. How you do? You start comparing the second element with the first, and then you try to push the element in its correct position. So 3 I compare it with 4. 3 is smaller than 4, so I'll swap 3 and 4. Next, the third element I start comparing with all the elements in the front of it. What are the elements in the front of it? 3 and 4. So I compare it with 3, I compare it with 4. But when I compare it with 3, 2 is smaller. So I'll have to push 3 and 4 and put 2 in the right place. Next, I compare 10 with all the elements in the beginning. All the elements in the beginning means what? 2, 3 and 4. All are smaller. So there is no change. Next, I compare 12 with all the elements that are in front of 12. What happens? 2, 3, 4, 10. All are less. So no change. Next, I have 1. 1 is compared with all the elements in front of it. So all elements in front of it are small, greater than 1. So 1 will come to the first position. All these elements will get. Similarly, we with 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12. So where it will fall, it will come somewhere in between 4 and 10. So that's how it gets insertion sort gets sorted. So as I told you, please try on yourself and find out how it is done. How you are going to know how many iterations does that take. What do we do in quick sort? Quick sort, I said we have to take a pivot element, 49. Suppose we take the pivot element, any element can be taken as the pivot element, either the first element or the last element or any random element in between also can be taken as the pivot element. We have taken for last element as pivot element. So this in that manner only. So 49 is my pivot element. First pass, what will happen? It's slow. All the are less than 40 less. I think my connection got lost suddenly. Let's continue. Yeah. So I was telling about quick sort. So you go on trying to do the quick sort. At every step, you find out pivot element as a last element, and then divide, apply quick sort, divide and conquer it is. So you go on applying the quick sort recursively until you find out the last sorted array. I think these kind of many examples on quick sort we have solved in the class also. Go through that, and we have also done the program, I think, in the lab on quick sort. So these are about a quick recap on how can we just a kind of what to say relooking into what are the different sorting and searching algorithms that we have seen. Okay, so that's it. I think for today's class we have revised with infix to postfix conversion. We have revised with infix to prefix. Yesterday's class we saw postfix evaluation. Then we quickly went through what is the linear. I am not giving more importance to this because I thought we have done it in the class in that 1 week. So notes and other things are all well within with y'all. So it should not be a problem. So try and you also go through some of the possible multiple choice questions that can be asked. Maybe you can also browse through the internet, Google it out, find out some questions on these topics, whatever I have told, so that it will be easy for you to answer the test. Anything else you want to ask me regarding the test or the portions or any topic you want particularly to be revised again? We can do that. Yes, anyone? So learn the first module completely, half of second module, that is recursion part of second module, and half of fifth module, that is the searching and sorting of fifth module. So totally you will have 2 modules, one first full module, half of second and half of fifth. Okay, any doubts you can always post me in that group, or you can even call me. I have no issues. Anytime you can call me. I am there to help you out. Okay, I think I'll wind up this class with that. If there are no questions, no doubts, I think I'll end this session. Right? Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.